I want to let you all know right now that there are things about me that you don't know that you're going to find out sooner than later. So basically, what I'm trying to do at this moment is do what my lawyer said and get ahead of it. I offended someone whose name I should have never brought up. I offended a professional fighter. His name is Canelo. I know, go big or go home. If you are not familiar with who Canelo is, give me a few seconds to explain. Canelo is arguably one of the best fighters in the world. Okay? You cannot miss him. He is in fact Mexican, but he does not look traditional. Canelo is in fact the whitest Mexican on earth. He's super white. He's so white, he's redhead. Canelo is a redheaded white Mexican fighter. He is so white, even Donald Trump was like, you can come. Super white. But then he opens his mouth and you realize, oh, Canelo, he's not local. So here's how I got in trouble. A comedy friend of mine by the name of Ron White reached out to me. And Ron White invited me to be part of his Tribute to the Troops comedy show for the Nashville Network. And I told Ron, I said, Ron, I'd love to do the show. Anything for the troops, let's do this. So the show taped in Vegas. And it's a couple other comics plus myself, and Ron White's the host. He brings me up on stage, and I figure I'm only doing 10 minutes, okay? I might as well just do references to Las Vegas since everybody knows Vegas. So I started talking about boxing. And then I brought up Canelo. And here's where I got in trouble. I said, Canelo is my favorite fighter of all time. I just wish... And it was all downhill after that. I said, I just wish he would not do interviews in English because English is not his strong language. And if you're a professional hear me out. If you're a professional fighter, you need to sound confident, engaged, threatening, aggressive, on point, in your face. And in Spanish, he does. In English, not so much. In Spanish, he's a killer. In Spanish, the reporter, the announcer comes out. Aquí estamos con Canelo Álvarez que se va a pelear contra Floyd Money Mayweather este fin de semana en pay-per-view en el MGM Grand en Las Vegas, Nevada. I know some of you heard that right now and you're like, oh my God, I think I understand Spanish. Because you do. So then the reporter will look at Canelo and ask him about the fight. Canelo, ¿qué vas a hacer en tu pelea? Canelo takes the microphone. He's a man of few words, but he's on point. He looks at the camera and he's like, pues mira, lo voy a pegar así, va a pegar el piso. Shas. Así mero, no se lo pierde ese fin de semana en el MGM Grand, Las Vegas, Nevada. Canelo Álvarez contra Floyd Money Mayweather. No se lo pierda. Same exact interview. English. I'm standing here alongside Mexican superstar Saul Canelo Alvarez, who's going to be facing Floyd Money Mayweather this weekend on pay-per-view. Canelo, what is your strategy and your plan of attack going into this weekend's fight against such a technical opponent, if you will, a man who has single-handedly redefined the sport of boxing? What is your plan of attack going into the fight? Going to hit him like this. I'm going to hit him like this. He's going to fall on the ¿Cómo se dice piso, güey? Floor. He going to fall to the floor and then tan tan, así. All right, well, there you have it. Floyd Mayweather, I hope you are ready, my friend, because, yeah, that's what's waiting for you. Reporting live for ESPN News, I'm Phil Stevens. Back to you in the studio, and we're out. The hell was that, goddammit? Why didn't you warn me? So here's the story. So I had done shows before, in Texas, and I had never done a show in San Antonio. So the original plan was we wanted to record a special in San Antonio for the new Netflix show, for the series. So we couldn't really travel too much. And remember, they kept telling us, stay in your bubble, stay in your COVID bubble. Don't forget to stay in your bubble. So in order to be as proactive and just careful, we all went out there together as a team, okay? And then we all basically said, we're gonna do a residency in San Antonio for 30 days. 30 shows in 30 days. And on the last day, we'll record a new special. This way it gives me a chance to start performing again because it'd been over a year since I touched the stage. And so we get there and they gave me the option. Do you wanna stay in a house or do you wanna stay in a hotel? And I said, well, I've never lived in Texas before, so let's see what a house feels like. So they got us like this fancy Airbnb, and basically, it was Martin, Alfred, my friend Rick, myself. It was like 4 of us. It was like the Mexican version of the real world, okay? So we're all in this big house together. Everyone gets their own room. And so, of course, I get the big room because it's me. And, look at me. No, yes. So I open up the door. I turn on the light. Click. And I'm like, this is a beautiful room. Wow, look how big it is. And then I notice there's a hole in the wall. I said, that's weird. So I get really close to the wall. And when I got close, I realized it's not a hole. It's a big-ass roach. And let me tell you, I am not exaggerating when I tell you that cuca was this big. That roach was this big. Now, I have used this unit of measure before to exaggerate. And let me tell you, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that freaking cucaracha was this big. And I don't want you guys thinking, oh, what, you think you're too good for roaches? No! I grew up with roaches my whole life. My mom and I, we lived in apartment buildings, projects. We always had roaches, but they were different. First of all, they were this big. And California roaches are very different. Okay? For example, when you turn on the light, they scatter. In Texas, he chilled. In California, they respond to sound and movement. Ah! Scatter. I tried my California technique on this Tejano roach. I said, ah! And the roach was like, what? Oh my God, I don't think he's in my room. I think I'm in his. And at that moment, my tour manager walks in the room and she's like, is everything okay with the accommodations? I said, no, the room is beautiful, but look at the wall. Aw, there's a hole in the wall. I said, get closer. She gets up to the wall and she's like, oh, it's a big ass roach. I said, you're okay with that? She said, he's not in my room. She can see that I'm visibly bothered by this roach. So she's like, would you like me to take care of your little friend for you? And it is a little emasculating because I'm a big guy and she's like 5'2". So she's like, move, fool. She takes off her shoes, she grabs it, she gets up on a chair, and she brings it back, and she's like, soy la 69. Bam! Nailed that roach. Threw down her shoe, put it on. I look at the wall, and it kept moving. And I said, you have angered our friend. And she was like defensive. Fool, round two. So she grabs her shoe, gets back up on the stool, and she brings it back. And just as she's about to nail this roach for the second time, that shit started flying.